Picture two townhouses on the same side of Nashville, zip code, same grocery stores, same rising cost of living, monthly housing costs close enough that on paper, they don't look radically different. The first home belongs to a man named Eric. He earns about $110,000 a year working in tech sales. If you walk into his place, it looks like success has already moved in. Giant wall-mounted screen, expensive sound system, designer bar stools, smart kitchen gadgets lined up like trophies, a Peloton bike covered in laundry, closets packed so tightly the doors barely close, a guest room that has quietly become a warehouse for boxes, old monitors, unopened purchases, hobby gear, and things he swore would definitely get used. From the outside, Eric looks financially ahead, but when he opens his banking app, his chest tightens. He has a good income and almost no margin. One bad month would rattle everything. Two missed paychecks would become a crisis. Now drive 6 minutes away and walk into Nina's place. She works for a university and earns $61,000 a year. Her home is simpler. The furniture is nice, but not performative. The living room has what she actually uses, not what looked impressive online. Her kitchen is smaller, but every item in it earns its place. Her closet holds clothes she actually wears. Her second bedroom is still a bedroom for Rennis, not an overflow chamber for abandoned purchases. And when Nina checks her accounts, she doesn't feel dread. She feels information. She has built more than a year of essential expenses in reserve. She invests automatically every month. She is not rich in appearance, but she is far more secure in reality. Same city, same inflation, same culture telling both of them to buy more. The lower earner has the stronger financial life. That is the part most people miss. This is not mainly a story about income. It is a story about the hidden relationship between possessions and freedom. A lot of people think the cost of something ends at the register. It doesn't. Almost everything you own keeps charging you after you buy it. That is the part people rarely calculate. Every object has two prices. The first price is obvious. It's the amount on the receipt. The second price is quieter. It includes the space it occupies, the upkeep it demands, the attention it steals, and the opportunity it destroys. Take a simple example. Imagine buying a premium rowing machine for $1,600. Most people stop the calculation there, but the machine also takes up valuable square footage in your home. It has to be cleaned, moved around, looked at, felt guilty about when you stop using it. And if it ends up becoming a very expensive clothing rack by month 3, the purchase price was only the opening act. Now think bigger. Suppose someone buys a used boat for $24,000. They don't just buy a boat. They buy registration fees, insurance, storage, maintenance, fuel, equipment, repairs, seasonal preparation, cleaning supplies, towing logistics, and a whole mini economy that now follows that purchase around forever. A lot of lifestyles are just chains of second costs, and some of those second costs are more destructive than the item itself. There is also a psychological bill attached to ownership. Every item takes up a little space in your mind. It needs to be organized, remembered, cleaned, managed, protected, charged, fixed, stored, or eventually thrown away. Enough of that visual and mental clutter starts to create real stress, even if you can't name it clearly. And then there is the cost that hurts the most long term, the money you no longer get to invest. That $12,000 home theater setup is not just a home theater. It's also $12,000 that did not get the chance to grow for you. That luxury watch is not just a watch, it is a financial fork in the road. Every possession is. The people who always seem to have money understand this without necessarily talking about it in those terms. They do not avoid owning things because they hate comfort or pleasure. They simply understand the full bill. That is why they follow a different set of rules. The first rule is this: calculate usefulness before you calculate desire. Before buying anything, ask how often you will honestly use it. Not fantasy use, not best self use, not this could be me one day use. Real use. That expensive blender that gets touched 6 times a year might be a terrible buy. A higher quality pair of work shoes used 4 days a week might be a fantastic one. People get fooled because they judge purchases emotionally instead of operationally. A $350 jacket worn 150 times is a better deal than an $80 jacket worn twice. A $1,800 mattress used every night for years may be far more sensible than a trendy kitchen device that spends 11 months a year in a cabinet. When you start asking, how often will this actually serve me? You cut through hype fast. Rule 2, use the replacement test. Walk through your home and ask, item by item, if this disappeared tomorrow, would I spend money to replace it? Be honest. Would you buy another panini press? Another ring light? Another bread machine? Another stack of clothes you haven't touched in over a year? Another hobby kit from a version of yourself that no longer exists? A surprising amount of what people own would never be bought again. That means those things are not assets in your life. They are leftovers. Leftovers from old moods, old ambitions, old impulses, old identities. And leftovers cost money to store, organize, and mentally carry. That's why getting rid of them feels lighter than people expect. Not because empty space is magical, because useless ownership is heavier than it looks. Rule 3, do not upgrade functioning things out of boredom. This one quietly destroys more wealth than people realize. A phone still works, but the new one has a cleaner camera. A couch is fine, but now it feels dated. A car is reliable, but your coworker just bought something sleeker. A laptop still does the job, but the new release makes yours feel old. That feeling is expensive. Modern consumer culture is brilliant at turning novelty into necessity, but boredom is not breakage. Familiarity is not failure. A newer model existing somewhere is not a financial emergency. People who stay financially strong learn to separate usefulness from restlessness. That alone can save enormous amounts of money over a lifetime. Rule 4, make spending harder and saving easier. Most people think financial discipline is mainly about character. It isn't. It is often about design. If spending takes 1 click and saving takes 6 steps, most people will spend more. If investing happens automatically and impulse buying has friction, most people will save more. So change the environment. Delete shopping apps. Remove saved card details. Unsubscribe from temptation emails. Create a 24-hour pause before non-essential purchases. Set automatic transfers on payday. Keep extra cash out of easy reach. Do not depend on willpower if structure can do the job better. Rule 5, count what you own. This sounds silly until you try it. Count your shoes, count your mugs, count your jackets, count your charging cables, count your beauty products, count your subscriptions, count the random, useful someday stuff living in drawers. Awareness changes consumption. Once you know you already own 19 coffee mugs, buying number 20 no longer feels harmless. It feels visible. And visibility is powerful. People drift into excess because they stop seeing it. Rule 6, test identity before funding it. A huge amount of spending comes from buying into imagined versions of yourself: future cyclist, future photographer, future camper, future musician, future serious cook, future furniture restorer. Sometimes those identities stick. A lot of times they do not. That is why borrowing, renting, or trying things cheaply first is so important. Rent the kayak before buying it. Borrow the woodworking tools. Try the hobby before building a whole ecosystem around it. Homes are full of abandoned ambitions disguised as equipment. Rule 7. Watch the multiplier effect. A purchase is rarely just one purchase. A dog means food, vet bills, grooming, boarding, training, and supplies. A luxury SUV means insurance, tires, repairs, and a higher standard of normal. A backyard hot tub means energy, maintenance, chemicals, servicing, accessories, and repairs. One object often brings a whole support system behind it. That is the lifestyle multiplier. And it's why a decision that looks like $4,000 can really become $9,000. Rule 8. Define enough before life defines it for you. This one matters more than almost any other. People get raises and immediately move the goalposts. Suddenly the apartment feels too small, the car feels embarrassing, the wardrobe feels outdated, the vacations feel basic, the line keeps moving. That is how people earn more every year and still feel financially trapped. The ones who escape this choose their definition of enough before the world chooses it for them. What kind of home is actually sufficient? What kind of car truly works? What level of comfort is enough to support a good life without swallowing all future freedom? Once you answer that, extra income can begin building security instead of feeding appetite. Rule 9, measure wealth by flexibility, not display. A lot of people think wealth means looking expensive. It doesn't. A better question is, What can your money allow you to choose? Can you leave a job that is damaging you? Can you take time off if a parent gets sick? Can you survive a rough season without panic? Can you relocate? Can you say no? Can you breathe? That is wealth. The person making $220,000 and spending $210,000 has built a polished cage. The person earning $75,000 and living on $42,000 may not look rich, but they have something more useful: room. And room changes lives. Rule 10. Declutter in cycles, not in dramatic bursts. A lot of people try minimalism like a weekend cleanse. They throw away half their stuff, feel reborn, and then slowly buy their way back to the same level of chaos. That fails because intensity is not the same as maintenance. The better method is rhythm. A quick weekly reset, a monthly review of one category, a seasonal check-in on what is creeping back, not one dramatic purge, ongoing attention. That is how clutter stays from rebuilding itself in silence. Now, here's the part people rarely say out loud. Minimalism and money reinforce each other in both directions. Owning less unnecessary stuff leaves more money available, and having more money saved makes it easier to stop chasing stuff, because when you feel genuinely secure, you need less performance from your purchases. A lot of spending is not about the object, it is about what the object seems to promise: status, safety, relief, identity, control. But real financial stability does that job better than any object ever will. That is why two cycles exist. The destructive cycle: you feel insecure, so you spend for relief. That relief fades, your insecurity grows, so you spend again. And the upward cycle: you spend with intention. That creates margin. Margin creates security. Security reduces emotional spending, which creates even more margin. That second cycle is where real wealth is built. Not always by people with the biggest salaries, often by people with the clearest standards. So if you want to start practically, do this. This week, walk through your home and identify 10 things you would not repurchase if they vanished. Sell them, donate them, or remove them. For the next month, apply a 24-hour pause to every non-essential purchase. This quarter, count what you own in 3 categories that tend to overflow. And most importantly, write down your definition of enough for your housing, transportation, and lifestyle. Because that is the difference between Eric and Nina. Eric never really asked what anything would keep costing him after he owned it. He only asked whether he could buy it. Nina asked better questions. Will I actually use this? Would I replace it? What else does this purchase bring with it? What freedom does it reduce? What is enough for me? That is why she has more room, more peace, and more financial strength with far less income. In the end, the choice is not between having things and having no things. The real choice is between unconscious accumulation and intentional ownership, between a life that consumes your income and a life that protects it, between looking rich and being secure. And once you understand the hidden cost of ownership, the math gets very clear. So does the peace.
If you want more stories like this that help you build real wealth, like this video and subscribe now.